Hi there and welcome back to my channel. My name is Andalee and I cover watercolor tutorial topics and I teach you from start to finish how to paint. So in this tutorial we are gonna look at how we can take this and make this into a painting. This is a coloring book that I just launched on Amazon. It's got a bunch of full panel illustrations and I'm going to show you how to use this in order to actually practice painting. I created this as a resource for people who might want to do colored pencil or do watercolors, but just might feel a little bit intimidated by the sketching process. So inside you'll see there are actual reference images so that you can look at these while you're painting within the lines of these. So I'm going to show you right now. We're going to get started and you'll see how a coloring book like this can turn into a beautiful painting. So what you're really going to need for this tutorial is a light box or a window that has a light source coming through it. You're going to need your coloring book and then you're going to need a few sheets of watercolor paper and a pencil. It can be any pencil, but the softer the pencil, the better. I'm going to use a few sheets of this Fluid 100 hot press finish watercolor paper. I find this paper is great for doing exercises, not necessarily finished pieces, but it is fantastic for pretty much anything. It's very smooth and it's easy to draw on. So you won't find that the pencil really bleeds everywhere like it does with other pencils that have a lot more grain. Paper that has a lot more grain on it. So now I'm going to turn on my light box. As you can see, the light is going up through the paper, which is going to make it really easy for me to see the lines from the coloring book through it. What I would recommend is if you purchase one of these coloring books, just tear out a sheet. But because I don't want to do that because this is my sample booklet, I'm just going to fold the pages over. You place it over the light box and then you put your paper on top. So while you're holding down the paper, you're going to take your pencil and you're going to sketch the outlines that you see here. So I'm just going to lightly go by all the lines and sketch the general shape, because this is going to really give me a guide for when I'm actually doing the painting work. And I'll have something to work off of. I'll know where the shapes should be and where the colors should be. You can really take your time. I'm doing this kind of quickly just because I want to show you how you can use this for a real painting. You'll also notice that the pencil really allows you to avoid these dark, thick black lines because that's probably not real desirable in your painting. So if you're painting directly on the paper itself in the coloring book, that's totally fine if you prefer it like that. But this is a trick so that you can really make your own beautiful paintings. No lines. You can erase the pencil later. Really doing a rough sketch here. I can totally change it later. I just want to get a feel for the shapes here and the composition. And I'm even using a light gray pencil. Sometimes I'll use a different color, like a pink. It just really depends on the subject and what I feel like doing that day. But I have found that the lighter the pencil, the easier it is to erase it later or to get rid of the marks. Usually when you paint over it, you won't see a lot of marks anyways, but it is a little bit less desirable to have the pencil marks in the painting when you're done. And so now I'm done with a rough sketch. You see how quick and easy that was. And now you can see it's basically a finished outline of this plant. So now you can just dive right into the painting process, use whatever colors that you want. And the way that I would start it out is I would take the book and I would go back to the reference sheet and I would tape down my painting on the desk and use this reference image as I was painting. Another technique that you can do is you can actually leave the watercolor paper on top of the original sketch. So if you were to not use pencil at all, you can also just put your paper on top of the light box and paint on top of the light box. I've seen that done as well. That's if you just don't want any lines. But this is a really basic way of doing this. You can achieve this even if you have just a window. You could tape the paper up to a window and then sketch the lines using just the daylight coming through the window. Light boxes can be a little bit expensive, but I'll link to this one down below because this happens to be my favorite light box for doing stuff like this. And yeah, check out the coloring book if you feel like getting it. It is on Amazon and it's available right now. That's how I recommend you use it. I'm also providing this booklet to anyone who takes my watercolor course because that was kind of the purpose of the class, was just to make it easy for anyone who might be starting out, who doesn't feel comfortable sketching subjects and wants to just really dive in and learn how to paint. They don't have to learn how to sketch beforehand. So I'm providing you with all of the initial sketches and the reference photos to go along with it so that you can actually mix the colors that you see in the photos. So I hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial. Let me know if you did in the comments down below, and please like and subscribe if you haven't seen my channel before and you really like my content. Thanks again, guys. See you in the next one.